everybody, and welcome to the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks Podcast. I'm your special guest host, Mr. Pickles, along with Stu Smith. What's up, Stu?
Hey, Mr. Pickles.
You're going to love the taste of juice in your mouth, Stu.
I like my pickle juice. I do. No, I really don't. It's not tasty.
There you go. So, what's on tap with the podcast today, Stu?
Well, last week we talked about podcasting, of all things.
Uh-huh.
And, whether you're going to do it for fun, does you need it for your business? How is it going to enhance your business? All those things.
Uh-huh.
And I got to thinking, do you remember, did you ever write a business plan for what you wanted to do with the Jim Edwards method?
No.
Yeah, you know what? I did when I first started. I think I pulled out my business plan from 2002.
Uh-huh.
Right? And it looks nothing like what I had planned.
Yeah.
I mean, this was before Facebook. I think this was before I sold my first ebook.
Uh-huh.
And then like 2 years later, 75% of my business is downloadable products. I mean, just completely looks nothing like my business plan. So
right.
What I wanted to discuss today was, you being flexible enough to see the trends in your business. Can you spot them? Are you able to turn your vision into a reality while at the same time watching business world evolve and technology evolve? Are you able to keep up with that transition, that process of everything moving in a certain direction? Otherwise, you're not going to have a podcast. You're not going to sell downloadable products. You're not going to do whatever, be on social media. So how are you evolving? So here's the whole topic: turning vision into reality. Can you spot trends of your business, online business in general? Are you ready? Are you going to be ready to make that move when something happens? So you have to be open-minded enough to learn. And can you plan to make it happen? So that's kind of the very broad topic.
Holy crap. What is this? Is this the first day of the semester and you're laying out the syllabus or something, and we're going to do this for the next, 18 weeks?
I had a vision, 20 years ago of what I wanted to do, and it looks nothing like what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And I think I have an answer for that.
Yes.
And I think that there were three words that came into my head as you were doing that. And I lost a couple of them. But it always comes back to, at least for me, was I always thought about, who am I going to serve? Who am I serving? And how can I serve them the best right now with what they need? So that was a lesson learned, though, from being on the mean streets of belly to belly, person to person, knocking on doors, sales and stuff, that I learned real fast that you better isolate who your best potential customer is and get real good at a message for them that is going to catch their attention, because you've only got about 10 seconds. And then as the market changes, how are you going to keep serving that group? How are you going to evolve? Because that's really the people that I see making it are the ones who are real focused on who they serve and how they fulfill a need or satisfy a desire for them. And then as things change, are you able to evolve in your offering? Very few people are doing the exact same thing they were doing 20 years ago. And that's kind of when I look back on my progression in the world of online business, I started out learning the fundamentals and then teaching them to real estate agents. I used to go into real estate offices and teach real estate agents how to send email, how to write emails that actually got customers to respond, and how to integrate basic online marketing with their business. And then, I published my book. I was selling my book. It took me 4 years to figure that out. And then I had other people saying, how are you doing that? And so then that kind of launched me on the ebook thing. And then we wanted to do video. And so I did a bunch of stuff on teach people how to do videos and CD-ROMs before everybody had, high-speed internet. And then we did downloadable MP3s. Then we did downloadable video. Then we did webinars, and we did membership sites, all these things that as I evolved and my business evolved, there were two parts to my business: the stuff that I was doing and then the stuff that I was teaching. And doing it and teaching it also, by the way, keeps you very authentic and grounded in what's going on. And then what I realized is, not everything that could be invented has been invented as far as the big gap stuff. Like, it was all based around mechanics. What I was doing, how do I get a book written and up and for sale as a PDF? How do I do video? How do I do audio? How do I do webinars? How do I do membership sites? Now all that stuff is push button simple. Yes. But along the way, I was always teaching people, hey, once you do this, here's how to sell it. So then I just kind of settled into this niche of teaching people how to sell, which I was doing all along. But then it really kind of came to fruition with copywriting secrets and funnel scripts and stuff about 6 years ago. Now, I can't believe it's been 6 years.
Well, you said something very important, because originally I was thinking, man, my business plan looks nothing the way it does. But you know what hasn't changed? Who I am serving.
Mm-hmm.
That has not changed. Now what has evolved is me serving them better,
mm-hmm.
more efficiently,
mm-hmm.
and even evolving a little bit into an older genre versus
mm-hmm.
the younger kid who's preparing to serve in the tactical professions. But yes, that has not changed. The term tactical fitness wasn't even invented whenever I was starting out. First I was calling it military, law enforcement, and firefighter fitness.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't quite roll off the tongue. But now we got tactical fitness.
You literally wrote the book on it.
I wrote the book on tactical fitness. So no, originally when I had first started, you're right. None of these were push button easy.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard. I mean, you had to figure out, okay, how am I going to get this video up here? I mean, how's people going to download a megabyte file, on dial up?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a lot of little things that, I think as long as you just kept your mind open and you saw the advancements in the technology that you were using to serve your customers, you were able to make it better every year.
Right.
Right. And it was literally better every year. I mean, there's hardly anything I've done consistently, each year without adding something new to it or finding a way to make it better or easier, that took less time, even for twice the amount of work or whatever. So I think that's kind of my thing that I wanted to discuss, the most was just, you really do have to be open-minded enough to learn all the new things that are available. Because, the one thing that you're not doing is going to change your life, in some manner.
Well, and that's the thing, as far as you said something, a lot of the stuff that you do now, you couldn't have done 20 years ago, and you couldn't have even known it was coming. In the last week, you say you've done 4 live streams for midshipmen or for potential midshipmen all over the country. To do a simulcast like that 20 years ago, you needed a satellite truck outside your front door, and now we're doing it you can do it for free through YouTube.
Yeah,
So a lot of the things that we do now, we couldn't have done then, or couldn't even known that we could have done back then. The one thing I will say though, is back in 2004, 2005, I said at some point, we will be doing infomercials for our products from our websites. I don't know how long it's going to take, but at some point we will be selling more through video than we will through text.
Nice.
We will be able to do that, and I can document that. That was some good prognostication.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I probably about that same time started doing more video, teaching, some of the techniques that required seeing the movement versus me writing about the movement.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that it's so important to look at every time we do something, it always comes back to who's your avatar? Who is the person that you're serving? What are their problems? What are their desires? What are their pain points? What are their roadblocks? What are their false beliefs? What is it that they want in the short term? What is it they want in the long term? And then how is whatever you're doing right now, what's the absolute best way you can right now, where you are with what you have, that you can serve them? And then the better that was another word that I wrote down here, was relationship. So it was evolution, value, and relationships. You've got to create relationships with people. So and you don't need to have like a million relationships. You just need to have relationships with people who are representative of the type of people that you want to have in your audience. So we see like Carlin or Pete, or Kevin or April, or all the people who are VJ, the people who show up on these things. Some people, Carlin, I remember first time I met Carlin was at a video training that Mike Stewart and I did years ago. I mean, years ago, dude, like almost at the turn of the century. And you develop those relationships as you go along. They become characters in the story of your life and business. And it's very valuable because it teaches you how to serve those people. And in the process, you're serving them. You can serve a lot more other people too. I'm not sure I'm saying this right, but like by having a relationship with Carlin, where I see him in the airport, I was like, dude, my ultimate relationship with customers is you come on the gym boat. That's when we're all like hugging and hanging out and talking smack in waiting in lines to get on and off the ship. I mean, that's like you become my buddy then. And then when I design products, I think of Carlin, I think of C. Ray, I think of these people and design the stuff for them. And by having those relationships and knowing those people and being able to communicate with those people, like Gordon, Gordon Watt. I've never met him in person, but he's my friend. I consider him a friend. You have people that you can ask, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this thing over here? And by doing that, that's how you build a business, not with a business plan. I mean, right. I know a lot of people who have MBAs who are complete dorks. I mean, they couldn't do anything in the business. Great. That business, it's where they say that any plan doesn't survive first contact with the enemy. What do they say?
Yeah. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, or
right.
I mean, for the boxer, but then the
right.
Yeah.
So my point is that if you're focused on serving the customer, each failure is never a failure. It's just feedback that, hey, I guess they didn't want this. So let's move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until you figure it out. Man, it still happens to me all the time, man. It's not like I live some magical life where everything I touch turns to gold and all my ads work and all my videos are a hit and everybody comes and watches my Facebook lives. That is not how life works, man. We still have issues. it just, but if you're
Gotta work
focused
through
on
'em.
serving the people, yeah.
Yeah, got to work through them. Hey, CH had an interesting comment, and this is something that you found on podcasting. He says it's interesting how you're streaming on YouTube Live, LinkedIn, and your webpage all at the same time. Don't forget Facebook. He's on Facebook too.
Uh-huh.
And he loves your wizards and scripts. They think they're awesome. But Jim found the
Oh.
easy button to do all that by finding StreamYard. Originally, we had started off podcasting the first, I don't know, 75, 80 or so on Zoom.
Yeah.
And Jim found StreamYard, and that's what we're using right now as the main platform, which lets you stream live for multiple social media pages.
And was a lot less expensive than Zoom.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah, man.
that was a perfect example of things that didn't exist when we started this journey.
Right.
That existed that allowed us to say, oh, here's how we're going to do a podcast. This is
Right.
how we need to do it. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
and also stuff comes and goes. And so if your whole business is built around one thing, and then that thing breaks or disappears or changes, great example. Back in the day, there was this there was a site called goto.com. And GoTo was really the only place you could buy pay per click ads. And the GoTo, I think it was GoTo. Goto.com had a keyword tool that you could go and put in your keyword, and it would tell you a whole bunch of different related keyword searches and then relative popularity. Everybody and their brother referenced that tool. Everybody in everybody's course, everybody's everything. They told them, go to the GoTo search tool and do this to figure out the relative popularity. Then one day it disappeared. And for like 2 years, there was no tool. And so we found a bunch of workarounds for it and ways to triangulate. But a lot of people, their whole business or products at least died because that one tool was missing and everything they were teaching was gone. And so you got to be able to evolve. You got to be able to change with the times, or ultimately you're going to die. It's like the software. If you were to go back and look at the wizard engine that we had 6 years ago, as opposed to what it can do now, it's not even night and day. It's like literally next century type stuff. And always looking for ways to improve, evolve, and to make stuff better, because otherwise if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to grow your business, Stu? Let's take this back to the original thought. How do you feel about your business now as opposed to the vision that you had laid out for it? Are you happier than if that vision had come true perfectly? Would you be as happy as you are now with the way your business is?
No, I'm much happier now, because originally it was a lot of work, because it was more published books and speaking and conferences, and it was a lot of that stuff. I didn't really think about the online option, and then I did, and I was thinking, hey, I'm selling these books pretty good online. I wonder, and then I started online training and online coaching, and then that gave me a huge laundry list and database of people I was training, what they were training for specifically. And then I just wrote generic programs for all those specific, journeys that everybody had, and just diversified pretty much in a year, pumping out ebooks that answered those questions, that answered those people's problems they were having. And that overnight just completely turned my whole business model upside down. Yeah, I remember running upstairs, like, tell my wife, hey, I just sold my first ebook, and that was exciting. I said, I didn't do anything.
Was
So
she
my
excited?
mother-
Was she excited too, or was it kind of a "Oh, okay, cool? Can you get this trash out of here for me?"
no, she was, she's like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Sounds like my wife.
Long for the ride.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, cool. We'll see what happens.
but yeah,
But you think about that choice that you made. Look at all of your compatriots, all of your peers. What were the paths that a lot of those dudes took? They either went into corporate America or they were on this endless cycle of deployments still overseas and, waiting on that next contract, hoping that they were going to be safe and, just always away from home, living for that next thing, being in danger, being bored out of their skull, sleeping in strange places, eating weird food, doing all these things, as opposed to you got to do what you love, which is working out and writing about it and working with young people and helping prepare them for this arduous journey. I mean, look at just those few decisions that you made of how you were going to do it, and then the stuff that you were going to try and the willingness to evolve. Look how it shaped your life completely differently than the path that you could have most likely ended up going down when having kids. And you told me you did some stuff for the Olympics and were getting into security work and other stuff like that. Do you see where the path diverged?
oh yeah, oh absolutely. And it was just a couple of little things that I just had some side gigs that I had fun doing. It was writing articles, and and then had the idea of putting up an ebook store. And next thing I know, I didn't need security business anymore for income. So
Right.
yeah, it was the side hustle that turned into the full-time hustle.
Yeah. And I think that's a great thing to kind of end the discussion on, is that you were passionate about it and it was fun and you enjoyed it. And when you combined it with the stuff that we talked about, it helped you over the rough spots. Because if you're just doing this for the money, especially when you're getting started, you're either gonna take shortcuts or you're gonna do stuff that will mean you won't have the longevity. There's got to be the passion. There's got to be the mission. If there's no mission, there's no staying power. And if you do stay, you're going to be grumpy. You're just going to be one of those people who's just looking at the numbers. I mean, the numbers are important, but what juices me are the stories of people telling me, that they finally did it, or they did this, they tried this thing 5 times and then they came across my thing and that was the thing that made the difference. And that's the kind of stuff that really makes me excited and keeps me going. You can't just do this for the money. There's just too many moving parts. It's got to be a part of a bigger mission.
Yeah. You know what? I'll end it with this one too, is that, Father's Day was kind of a fun day, with my kids. And then I don't have any grandkids yet, so waiting for that. We'll see when that happens. But I got a couple of texts and emails from guys that say, I don't really know you. I don't even know if you have kids, but you've been kind of like my sea daddy, in the Navy. I'd always bounce questions off of you and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that's very nice. So that was. I agree with you. It's not about the dollar signs at the bottom of the piece of paper. It's it's about those relationships you make.
Right. And if you do it right, the money will come.
Yeah.
That Adventago says, once I release that, if I provide genuine value, that the money will come sooner. I felt better. I think I know what you meant. But the bottom line is that the money, if you're serving the folks, the money will come. There's too much. That's for a different discussion about pricing and feeling worthy and all that. We've talked about that before. But if you're doing it right, the money will come. It has to. It can't not, if you're doing what we teach you to do. So cool. Well, that was fun. It was an unexpected little conversation, but I enjoyed it.
Hey, Kevin found out what .io means. Did you see that?
uh-oh. What does it mean?
British Indian Ocean Territory.
What?
So
Oh
you
my
now
God.
have a company in the Maldives.
Oh my God. So the government's going to come after me now because I have a domain that's .io. And they're like, Mr. Edwards, tell us about these offshore bank accounts you have. I don't have any. So, okay, well, we've got like 3 minutes left. So I don't really have anything left. So I think we'll just give everybody 3 minutes, a gift of 3 minutes.
Gift of 3 minutes. They don't have to listen to us unless they have a question.
Thank you, Justin. Justin says your funnel scripts was a game changer for my business, Jim. P.S. The beard game is strong. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. I'm working. I'm not sure what I'm doing with this.
Jeff Herring had a good topic or comment. He says, I was going to be sitting in a chair and nodding my head as a therapist for the rest of my life until the internet showed up, and I traded my couch for a mouse. Signed,
Wow.
Recovering Therapist.
Now, is that mouse comfortable to sit on? Just curious. Okay. Well, everybody have a wonderful day, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.